Hi everybody. We have a video today about the holiday season. You'll see in front of me a whole lot of things that are dog related that come with the holiday season. And what we're going to do in today's video is go through some of the supplies and also some of the things that you will encounter with your dog during the holiday season. So the first thing that comes to mind is we all love to decorate our homes. And while decorating our homes, even if you have an adult Labradoodle or you have a Labradoodle puppy, you want to be sure that everything is safe, not only because if you have a very sentimental item that you have a lot of value attached to or something that's very precious to you, but you also want to keep your Labradoodle puppy or your Labradoodle dog safe. You don't want them to be getting into something that can cause them any potential harm. Because the holidays should be all about fun and family and not about worrying about having to take your Labradoodle to emergency. So the potential hazards when you decorate your home are fairly clear. First of all, if you happen to celebrate Christmas and you have a tree, the one thing you want to worry about is, well, are they going to eat the strand of lights? Now, of course, the lights are generally made out of glass, which is a problem for your dog if they eat the glass, and if they chew the wires and the lights are turned on, of course, there's the risk of electrical shock. They may also find the decorations just irresistible. Decorations on a Christmas tree come in many different formats. You can have something that's felt, you can have something that's glass, you can have something that's plastic. All of these things represent potential hazards to your Labradoodle. And the felt things may seem fairly innocuous, but if your dog ingests that, you can get a blockage and the surgery to remove it can be quite pricey. Obviously, a glass ornament, again, the glass is something we don't want our dogs to be eating. And if it's plastic, there's all sorts of implications for plastic, such as the blockage issue, or even that the plastic itself is toxic. The other thing that we often have at Christmas is a lot of seasonal plants. And this is whether you celebrate Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever it is, even if you're not celebrating anything, just taking advantage of, hey, it's holiday time. So we often find amaryllis, poinsettias, and mistletoe at this time of year. All three of those things are toxic to your dog. There's a myth out there that poinsettias will actually kill your dog. They won't, but they will make your dog very, very sick. Now, if you had a dog that ate 4 of them, perhaps that would be enough to kill them. But if your dog happens to eat a couple of leaves of a poinsettia plant, you don't need to panic and think that they're going to drop dead. You will be able to expect, though, that they are vomiting and having diarrhea. So when you have a poinsettia and an amaryllis, or you have mistletoe hanging, those are things you all need to be aware of as being potentially toxic for your dog. The other thing that a lot of people are unaware of, and I have to say I didn't know this for a long time, is if you have a live tree in your home, and particularly on Vancouver Island, so many of us love to go and get our own tree, and we feel much more connected to nature because we live on Vancouver Island and we like to have a living tree as opposed to a plastic one. But what I didn't realize is a lot of the trees, if you get them at a Christmas tree farm, because generally speaking it is illegal to chop a tree down out in the forest, those trees are treated with a variety of different things. So when you take your Christmas tree home and put it in water, there will be all sorts of toxic chemicals in the water. Many dogs and cats like to drink that water. So that's something else that is very important to be aware of. And if you have a pine tree for your tree, the pine needles also can do a great deal of harm to your dog. If they're snuffling about, and particularly if you have a puppy and they ingest those pine needles, those are very sharp and can cause all sorts of internal puncture wounds. If you have a tree skirt, as many of us do to cover up the base of our Christmas tree, be aware that that is a magnet for peeing, especially if you have a puppy who is using pee pads. Oh, look, it's a pee pad right under this thing that's so full of these shiny objects. What a great place to pee and play. And finally, if you have a menorah and you have the candles lit, You have to really watch where you put the menorah because tails can get singed if they happen to go through the candles, or even if you just have candles in your home. So those are all some of the potential hazards you can find with decorating your house. So what are the solutions? Because we still want to be able to have our home decorated, and we want our dog to be able to participate in all of that. So first of all, the first thing you can do, and this is something I forgot to mention in potential hazards, tinsel. Tinsel is very dangerous to your dogs. So no tinsel on the tree. People don't tend to use tinsel as much as they used to. Use something more natural to hang on your tree. Put jingle bells all around the lower branches of the tree and hang all your ornaments and your garlands up higher, because if you have the jingle bells at the bottom, when your dog is getting close to your tree and potentially into trouble, you will get fair warning because the bells will be going and you'll know, I better go and check and see what the dog is up to. Just make sure when you're putting the ornaments and the lights up higher that you take your dog, have your dog stand on their hind legs, because that's how high they can reach. So you want everything above that. Below that, keep it just clean and bare and just the jingle bells. You can make all sorts of beautiful jingle bell ornaments to go down on the bottom. The other thing is to use your X pen. Now, if you're getting a Van Isle Doodle puppy and you get our puppy starter kit, you'll have that X pen. X pens are fabulous. You can keep this on hand for years to come, and you can just put it out in front of your tree. Then you can have your tree decorated right down to the bottom. You can have your tree skirt. You can have the lights, the ornaments. You don't have to worry because your tree is protected by the X pen. Now, the X pen isn't 100% beautiful, but you still get to have your gorgeous tree and keep your Labradoodle safe. And that's the most important thing. For your menorah, your poinsettia, your amaryllis, and your mistletoe, make sure, again, take your dog, put them up on their hind legs, especially if you have a new Labradoodle puppy. You'd be amazed. They grow right in front of your eyes, but when you see them every day, you don't notice how much they're growing. So make sure you do check how high can they reach. All the plants and candles higher than that so they can't get onto them. And make sure there's no chair or stool in front of it, because they'll just hop right onto that and get to what it is they're trying to reach. Snow globes are in particular are very highly poisonous to dogs. So you want those to be out of reach as well. So, and you also want to be sure if you have the X pen around your tree, then you don't have to worry about your puppy or your dog drinking the water that's full of chemicals from the bottom of the tree if you have a live tree. So the X pen comes in really handy. The next thing is you probably are going to have some guests, and you're probably going to share some holiday feasts together. So the potential hazards from that are, of course, especially if you have a Labradoodle, everybody loves them. They're so adorable, they're so cute, they're so focused on people. It's very hard for your guests to resist not slipping them a little treat. So great idea, before your guests come over, just give them a little bit of a heads up and say, oh, hey, we do have some things that are appropriate to give the puppy, so we'll give them some of those treats so that they feel like they're engaging with the puppy and including them in all of the feasting, but they're not getting the things that they shouldn't have, which is pretty much everything on your table. If you have a traditional Thanksgiving Christmas meal with turkey and all the trimmings, plain white turkey meat is perfectly fine for your dog to eat a small quantity of. No skin, but not the cranberries. Plain carrots, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, any of those things that are plain are all fine for them to have small amounts of. You want to avoid the gravy, because the gravy tends to be very high fat and have a lot of herbs in it. You don't want anything with any sauces on it, and particularly no desserts. And pretty much everything that we like that's so tasty is what you want to avoid giving your dog. You also are probably going to have people coming in and out quite frequently. So you want to be sure that your dog is secure, because it's so easy for them to run out the door. And your guests, if they don't have a dog, they may close the door behind them, but perhaps your door didn't actually shut. And there you go, the dog is shooting out the door. And you don't want your guests to feel dreadful that your dog got out. You don't want to be searching for your dog during the holidays. So best thing is either have your dog in a separate room where they're removed, or if you want them to be part of the festivities, and most of us do, have something that blocks off where your guests are arriving and leaving from. Again, an X-Pen is fabulous for this. You can easily put an X-Pen to block off your foyer or your front door, and people can just move it very simply, but your dog is out of the way. Another thing you'll find in your puppy starter kit that is absolutely perfect for these occasions is your hands-free leash. So you can just simply put it around your waist, clip your dog to you, they can't go anywhere, you don't have to worry. Great solution for that type of thing. The other thing that's likely to occur when you have your guests come over is, of course, a lot of overwhelming noise and everybody's happy. You probably have music on. There's people having multiple conversations. There's quite likely children running around, and they also are really excited. So give your dog some time out. Have that planned. Have a room, generally your bedroom, where they sleep is the best bet, with their crate set up, and have a really nice long-lasting chew for them. Give that to them in the crate, close the door, and if you have an Alexa or something like that, tell Alexa to play some music, put it at a decent volume so your dog hears Alexa and whatever you've chosen for them to listen to, but they aren't so aware of what's going on in the house where you're having a party. So give them an hour of time out, then bring them back out again. Just let them have some peace and some alone time, because especially, it doesn't really matter if they're puppies, but especially young dogs, they can get overwhelmed by all that's going on and feel really quite unhappy about it all. So it's really important that you give them some of their space too. Now, if you're opening presents, this can be when you have guests or we have your family. The other thing you want to do is probably have a really good number of different places for people to put the wrappings and the ribbons into right away. So your dog isn't able to get into ribbons, and some people love to do beautiful gift cards on their wrappings, and those generally have something that might be pointy, sharp, generally not something we want our dogs to be ingesting. The paper is not something we want them to be ingesting. If you got a gift card and you just happen to put it down, you don't want your dog to eat the gift card. So make sure you have a nice high area where the gifts are going to go right away, and lots of places where you can put all of the wrappings so that with a lid on it, a garbage can with a lid, so that the puppy can't get into it, or your older dog. And then have a gift for your dog to unwrap. Make it easy for them to unwrap. Make sure somebody is assigned to watch them, because you don't want them to eat the wrapping. One thing that's really good to do is just keep a box that something's come in, put it in the box. The dog will be busy trying to figure out how to open the box for a while. That keeps them entertained while you're going about opening all of your gifts. The other thing is, when you're feeding your guests, if you are having appetizers and hors d'oeuvres, don't have those on a coffee table where your dog can eat them. Those things are generally always full of things that can cause your dog to become sick or even be toxic to your dog. Same as you don't want people to leave their cocktails where your dog can lap them up. And the other thing is, if your guests come with their purse, hang their purse, their jacket, everything up high again. It's very embarrassing if your dog has eaten your guest's purse or eaten part of their jackets. Or if they're taking their shoes off, if you happen to live in a part of Canada where there's a lot of snow and they've brought their boots and they've left those at the door. You don't want your dog and your puppy to be chewing those or running off with those. So think all of these things through before you start hosting everybody. Find all your strategic locations, get it all mapped out, and you'll have a great time, and your dog will love having your guests over just as much as you do. Now we're going to talk a little bit about gifts for your dogs. As I said, have some gifts for your dogs. Of course you should. Give your dog a stocking. So we have a variety of things here that I have got from different locations. Now this is something that you see in a lot of stores right now. And isn't that cute? It's a stocking already made up for your dog. This is something you don't want to give your dog. And the reason why is, first of all, the package is bad for them. There's no way for your dog to get into this easily. It's a bunch of plastic that's not going to disintegrate in the landfill. It's a bunch of plastic you don't want your dog ingesting. And if you see the first item here, it's a plastic bone, and it squeaks and it has little nubs on it. This is something that is highly dangerous for your dog. This can easily be chewed off. They can swallow big chunks of the plastic. This is all foreign sourced. Who knows what's in here? It's probably latex. It probably has red food color dye in it. Everything about this is a bad choice. Same with the green one at the bottom with the little spikes. Great sounds, they're terrific for that, but again, highly toxic and dangerous, potentially dangerous for your dog. Same thing with this little red ball here with the spikes. Looks great. If you don't have a dog, you may think that that's something really ideal for them. The toy here, the stuffed toy with the little rope, not so bad, not the end of the world. We'll talk about that in a little bit more depth when I have a larger example for you here. The tennis ball, again, not a good choice. The outside of the tennis ball comes off. All the fuzz and all of that gets into your dog's mouth, can be potentially dangerous. Again, all sorts of dyes on here you don't want your dog consuming. And then down at the very bottom is a furry candy cane. Again, not the end of the world for that one, and we'll talk about that in a bit more detail in a minute. But overall, this is not something you want to be putting under the tree for your dog. This is another similar thing, those same balls, same thing. These are not good options for your dog. These aren't too bad for a cat because cats don't chew their balls and cats will like to chase these. These two guys here, stuffless stuffies with crinkle paper and squeakers. These are great. These are inexpensive, they're fun, they've got good little textures on them. Your dog's not going to eat these, so it doesn't matter so much what they're made out of. The crinkle paper that's inside, they'll rip these open in a matter of minutes probably. The crinkle paper won't hurt them, but you do want to be on the lookout for the squeaker. They're plastic. You do not want your dog to be eating the squeaker. So you do have to keep a sharp eye on them if you give them these little things. We always have these. We give these to our dogs at Christmas. We just make sure we are watching them. And as soon as the squeaker is out, which is usually, like I said, very quickly, it doesn't take an hour, then the toy is removed. This guy here is similar to what those toys were in the plastic stocking here. Now, this has some really good things and some potentially bad things. So first of all, it's stuffed, full of stuffing. The stuffing will be full of chemicals and things we definitely don't want our dogs to eat. But it's nice and cuddly and it's got some different textures. So it's perfectly fine for chewing on. We just don't, as soon as it gets an opening, one of the seams rips, it goes out because we definitely don't want the dogs eating any of the stuffing. Eyes are sewn on, so there's nothing to come off there. These ropes are great. Dogs love to chew them. You've got two, you can play tug. For these less expensive toys, these will come unraveled very quickly. The dye on the rope is probably not ideal, but it's not so much that you're going to have to worry too much. But once they shred this and these start to come into loose strings and they're coming off, the toy needs to be removed. You definitely don't want your dog to be able to swallow any of this twisted rope. And then the last thing here is another candy cane full of little dog cookies. This is another thing you never want to give your dogs. This is full of things your dog should never eat, and in particular food color dyes, which are believed to cause cancer and all sorts of problematic things. They're made with wheat and they're high in corn syrup, all things your dog should never eat. And again, in a plastic container that is not really very suitable for a dog. And these happen to be peanut butter flavor. They are made in the US, but they're definitely not something you want your dog to eat. They're made out of flour, flaxseed, sunflower oil, and then it has the 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 different food colors in here that are definitely not safe for dogs. So those are all the things that I would say, other than these, that you want to avoid. And these are the things you see the most in the store. They're up front there, they're pretty, they catch your eye, and you think, oh, this is a great thing. The other thing you also want to always avoid is rawhide. So what do we suggest? Well, this packaging is not as Christmassy as this, but you can put something Christmassy on it. If you have a puppy or you have an adult dog who likes to chew, these Twisty Juniors are great. They last longer because they're twisted. These are all natural. They're all 100% Canadian. There's nothing added to them. Everything is sourced in Canada. It's all made in Canada. It has nothing in it other than 100% beef. No additives, preservatives, chemicals of any type. Another 100% Canadian product. This is from Ontario. These are tripe sticks. These are really good. They're very long lasting. No, they don't have as much benefit as eating fresh tripe, but they have all sorts of goodness in them. Really good for dogs of all ages. Again, nice, long lasting. Fish sticks. These are something the dogs love. These do not last long. They are devoured instantly. They're cod skins that have been dried. They are 100% Canadian sourced and made again. There's nothing unnatural about them, nothing added to them. They're very quick and they're always popular. Great little stocking stuffer for a dog. These are American made, and these are called pocket trainers. These are super if you have a dog who's overweight, or if you have a senior dog who can't chew anything that's hard like those that I just showed you. These are soft, and these are peanut butter flavored. These are grain free. They're all safe to give your dog. They're very small. They're 4 calories each, and you can break them into even smaller parts. Dogs love them. They come in chicken, bacon, peanut butter, and salmon flavors. Then these are also Canadian from Ontario. These are all natural, not smoked, not rawhide, not flavored, just dried pig ears. These will keep your dog busy for a long time. They're really satisfying for your dog. They have great flavor because they're natural. Not the ones that you see in a big box store that are smoked, and not the ones you see in a big box store that are made out of rawhide. Those things are extremely bad for your dog. You want them to be 100% natural. These are made by Hero, which is a Canadian company in Ontario. Super company with really good, beautiful, high standards. Everything is natural, all Canadian sourced again. And the last thing we've got here is from Puppy Love, and this is a puppy pack, but it's fine for an adult dog. You don't have to be a puppy. Great little selection. This compared to this is night and day. This is really good for your dog. This is going to give them lots of fun. This, not so much. So there's a junior cane in here, which is a great 100% Canadian product, good chew, a nice long lasting one. This would be perfect to put with your dog in the crate while they're having their time out from activities. There's some freeze-dried beef, chicken liver, and there's some harder beef liver in here. Both excellent choices for your dog. And then there is a beef steer stick here, which won't last as long as the junior cane, but still is a really nice thing to give them while you're opening presents to keep them busy. So those are the things that we recommend to give to your dogs for their Christmas presents, to keep them occupied and to keep them healthy and to make your holiday time even better for you. And one last thing, don't forget, just because you're celebrating the holidays, your dog still needs exercise. And one of the best things you can do is before you have your friends and family over, take them out for a really good run, wear them out, so they're more likely to just snooze while you are trying to enjoy yourself with all your friends. So I hope that's been a helpful video for you. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have any questions about anything to do with the holiday season, just please feel free to ask away in the comments. And we hope this helped you, and that all of you and yours and all of your Labradoodles have a most wonderful holiday season. Thanks so much for watching.